I'm gonna fire you and do the podcast alone. What do you think of that idea?
Fire me into what?
I'm gonna fire you and do the podcast alone.
All right. I'll write it for you. You can just do it all by yourself. I'm fine with that.
Just sit over there.
I don't need any public recognition whatsoever.
No one wants to fucking hear me.
Or me.
That's okay.
Probably less me. I'm grouchier.
No, it's good. We need that. So, it's officially November. You finished Outer Worlds. I haven't, obviously.
Yeah, did finish that.
But I guess aside from waiting another week for Death Stranding, are you happy you finished the Outer Worlds?
I'm happy I finished it. I'm just not happy that it's done, I guess you could say. You know?
What's that stupid saying? Something about, like, don't be sad that it's over, but be happy that it happened. You know that? Like,
I don't know. You know, I can remember, like, fucking whole blocks of text from certain books, but I can't remember stupid quotes for the life of me most
okay.
times. Something like that, though.
Something,
I'm sure.
yeah, something along those lines.
I did
be
enjoy
happy
it.
it happened, man.
I mean, like, I kind of want to go back in for another playthrough, but it's only a few more days till Death Stranding, and in the meantime, maybe I can, you know, get back into, like, the last few bits of Greedfall and, like, you know.
Oh, that'd be cool, yeah.
Finish that off, maybe. Finish off Divinity, which I started. Almost finished that as well, I think.
Still a long ways to go in Outer Worlds and probably that Digimon game, too, for the Switch.
Well, there's that one as well. I also want to play Astral Chain still.
Oh, man.
I'm definitely down to go back to Astral
We did
Chain.
not properly prepare for this, like, onslaught,
Yeah,
eh?
we did not. We did not.
Holy cow.
It's nice that there's games like
Falling
the new
behind.
CoD because you can cover it kind of like almost as an afterthought.
Yeah, that one I can imagine just
At
getting
least for
through
me,
really
yeah.
quickly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it from what I played, actually. Like, that was a great experience.
Yeah.
You know? I'm not even done the campaign yet, but it was already long enough for me to say that it's worth it.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. I mean,
long
I
and interesting
played a
enough.
few missions,
Yeah.
but from what I know and not firsthand experience about the recent Call of Duties from before this Modern Warfare is that they've kind of, I mean, the last one, like you said, it didn't even have a campaign, and then the ones before that were like just very out there and very fast, and I never liked that. Sort of going into the future as well, just kind of really departing from the series' initial roots would be the World War II stuff, and then the Modern Warfare was like kind of the second like saga of or whatever you would call it of Call of Duty, right? And that was always my favorite because I loved the World War II stuff, don't get me wrong, but the Modern Warfare stuff was cool as
I think that's really cool too. I think maybe, you know, it has to do with something that I was thinking about when I was playing this game, like what it makes it an FPS in comparison to the Outer Worlds, which like they're both games with first-person shooting is like the fundamental gameplay mechanic, but it's so radically different that feels like just the very, you know, thing that you're trying to communicate with that gameplay, the very kinds of entities you're trying to represent and allow the player to participate in are like totally different almost. It feels like to me, you know, and it almost feels like to me that what makes an FPS is it's like, I don't want to use the word, I use the word realism with hesitation because it evokes like, you know, actually existing technologies and like, you know, modern human abilities and stuff like that, but I don't mean to like exclude from the category realistic like any potential like future developments or even like science fiction stuff, but just this like idea that you get the sensation that, you know, there's a proportionality between your inputs firstly and the character outputs on the screen. Like, you got to work as hard as the character does, you know, in your own way while you're playing the game, of course, to achieve some action, you know, in the course of the story, because that's the only thing I played. And that there's like a real weight, like a real humanity to everything you're doing, it feels like, you know.
In Modern Warfare specifically,
it doesn't
over
feel
the
like
Outer Worlds?
Yeah. Feels like in the Outer Worlds, like your actions are more symbolic, so as to facilitate the representation of strange technologies and like to provide an ease to your character as he over levels enemies. But
there's definitely a lot more variety in that front, right?
Yeah, whereas here, like the gameplay, I wouldn't say, you know, all gameplay at the end of the day is symbolic, just like words in relation to the things that you're talking about. But at the end of the day, there's more of a proportionality or an equality between the gameplay mechanics in Call of Duty and the things that the character is doing on the screen than there is in the Outer Worlds, I guess, where you would say, where the gameplay takes, you know, it veers closer towards like an RPG in the sense that you need to implement like more symbolic mechanics, like your button press applies to a wider array of crazier shit than it does in Call of Duty, just by the very necessity that, you know, depicting stuff like that with the same controller you would in Call of Duty requires you, you know, symbolize more, right? Like you have one input
more one to one,
yeah.
And I feel like it makes sense for that type of game that's very like, how do you describe it? Like it's intense, whereas the Outer Worlds is, I guess, more of a I don't know how to describe it.
I would say like
I don't want to say casual,
like,
right? Like that doesn't.
Well, I think it's like just like a JRPG. It's more like uncircumscriptive and symbolic. Like when I say uncircumscriptive, I mean like the things that you're doing as a player don't really like circumscribe or wrap around or adequately represent the things that the character is doing. They're more symbolic, like a menu, you know?
Yes,
exactly. A menu's totally not even trying to be a parallel thing. You're not aiming like you would with a joystick or pulling a trigger button. You're just selecting something, right? And I'm trying to argue that
it's
in
like
something
in between.
Yeah, I guess the Outer Worlds is kind of in between, whereas Call of Duty is like probably like very much like Dark Souls. You know, there's a close like there's like a
deliberate kind of.
There's proportionality between the things the character, like you have one button to swing your sword once, you have one trigger button that literally is like the trigger on your gun, let's say, right? Whereas it's not like, you know, in Outer Worlds like this.
So can you say like the controls are boiled down to more simple functions to create like a, I guess, very
like they're less symbolic and more like adequate to the things that you're doing. Like there's one action for one character output. Like even the actions you do are kind of closer to what the character does.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas, you know, in an RPG, like you're representing fantastical things with an action that doesn't even vaguely resemble them, right? Like not even symbolically. You know, when your guy is aiming in Call of Duty, when he's pulling the trigger, like you're aiming in your own way, you're pulling the trigger as well. Like you're jumping and trying to, you know, accommodate the heft of this like soldier as he traverses the battlefield. But in the Outer Worlds, there's an ease and a fluidity to everything, which
I guess that's like that's how you boil down the difference between just like an FPS action and like an FPS RPG, which means like one genre is not good enough to say. Unless you don't call the Outer Worlds an FPS and just call it an RPG, but you have like it is an FPS.
I guess it has shooter combat. It has FPS combat, but like if we admit that there is such a thing as FPS as a genre at all, then I guess what I'm trying to say seems like to me it means like it's no. I would say definitely the Outer Worlds is not an FPS. No, for sure.
No, like
it's an RPG, sure, but like so it is Dishonored an FPS? No, probably not. Right? Like
it's just in the first person perspective.
Yeah,
it doesn't
sure.
need, like,
what about Oblivion? Is it a fucking FPS? Probably not, right? Like
no.
You know, just because there's guns, like I don't think it means that. I think it means like this circumscriptive, like this closer like adequation of like player input to character output. This like
FPS, you mean like when you like say
this,
an
like
FPS shooter,
like
right?
the sensation of like wielding an actual gun in a combat situation, I guess. You know?
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. More circumscriptive gameplay.
I can't believe those games came out on the same fucking day.
Yeah.
They both came out on the same fucking day,
strange,
right? Two radically different first person.
But I enjoy the shooting in both of them equally. Not even to say one is worse or better than the other.
No,
like,
they just do different things, right?
It's just a fact of the matter that when, you know, you veer further and further away from like something like an actual gun, which has fairly like restricted functions. It's easy to symbolize on a controller more adequately, like
than like,
you know, in the Outer Worlds, like all the crazy shit you can do. It's necessary to resort to like, you know.
I found like an energy blasting fucking grenade launcher.
Yeah, plasma cannon.
Those, just plops the big balls of energy. Just boom.
Is it a science weapon there that you found?
I think so.
It shoots blue.
Yeah, it shoots the blue.
It's called
blue
a goop
stuff.
gun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a cool weapon.
It blasts like fucking.
It scales
tons
with
of
your
fucking
science
DPS.
stat.
Yeah. I started doing that. I started upgrading my science stat.
Get the hammer. It's the best.
God.
It's broken. Yeah, it's broken. Kills everything in the game in like one shot.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love how we can enjoy both games. I still can't believe I'm enjoying
exactly it though, right?
This
like,
Call of Duty. I can't stand Call of Duty games for the longest time. I've hated them since.
I think like exactly what we're talking about now is a good example of like the difference I'm trying to illustrate. Like, you know, in the Outer Worlds, like I have, you know, my guy scaled into science. Like his science stat is at 100. All his weapons are plasma because it scales with science.
It's DPS, right?
Yeah, and it's like there's this buffer between like your actions and the fucking shit going on
I
the
totally
screen,
forgot
right?
about
like,
that for the stats, yeah.
There's like this buffer there. It's almost like this middle ground that, you know, translates your actions before actually symbolizing them on the screen. Right?
Like
it pushes
shooting
them through an input.
Human in Call of Duty from the first mission to the last mission is relatively the same. There's nothing in between, like you said, right? Wow.
Yeah. This like membrane of like, you know, constantly shifting like symbolism that interprets your action before providing an appropriate like response to it, right? And I think like in Call of Duty, that like membrane of like, you know, shifting responses is not nearly as shifting. It's more restricted, right? Like it's, the playing field is more equal.
Yeah. There are stats tied to weapons, of course, and they do go up and down based
it's all
on
background stuff, though, right? Like the idea is to provide like we wrote something about this. I'm sure it'll appear on the website in the next couple of days. But there was a great article in the Washington Post of all places talking about the making of this current Call of Duty game,
Modern Warfare.
and it said that their objective was to like contrive, like, I'm paraphrasing here, like the best and most realistic representation of like combat on a modern battlefield.
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
and in the form of the mind of the, you know, creator, that's what they were trying to make, right? And like I think like even if you know, extrapolate a little bit, just to say hypothetically, like you could apply this even to like a future battlefield where people have, say, like fucking bionic armor or some shit like
Right.
that, but the point will be like always like maintaining that like close proportionality between player input and the character on the screen's output, like not really like inserting
Not
this
meddling
like,
with the
this like morphing fucking
Yeah.
like membrane of like, you know, background like numerical interpretation of the player's inputs, right?
Right.
Like, yeah, I think that's to me like what makes it an FPS, you know?
Yeah.
That like representation and like more adequate like gameplay mechanics of the experience of firing a gun in a combat situation, of soldiering, you know?
Right.
Because it does feel like shooting like a gun, like actually like shooting a gun in Call of Duty. Like when you fucking fire a gun, it's
Yeah.
like shooting one, right?
Yeah, I guess
The
you
noises
don't
are
get the
closer
same,
to an actual gun, yeah.
You don't get the same feeling
No,
from
you don't
the
even
Outer
shoot
Worlds,
proper
no.
guns in the Outer Worlds. I don't
That's
even
true.
think they have
There's,
actual guns.
like there's pistols with
Yeah, that's
and
true,
there's
yeah.
an assault rifle.
Yeah,
with
but
regular
they're like
ammo,
all
but-
weird and sci-fi'd out. They don't have like
of
proper
course,
parts
yeah,
on them.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It's-
They don't look right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that though.
No, me too. I'm not saying I don't like it. Not at all. Don't get me wrong.
I
Just
know.
that it's not like shooting a gun, right? You're like, you know.
It's crazy, man. I feel like 2019 is ending like with a bang.
What a great
man.
year. We
Oh
were
my
saying a
God,
little bit before
honestly.
that, like, or I was saying anyways, that this is probably the
I
best
think
year
you're
ever
right.
for video games, and it definitely was.
Yeah, this has.
It's not even done yet either.
No.
We got Pokemon and Jedi left.
Pokemon, Death Stranding,
And Death Stranding. Fuck. Oh, yeah. It's
I've been talking about it all
got
day.
some steam left in it, you know? Steam left in it yet this year.
Well, it kind of works out because I 100% am playing the Pokemon game.
I'll probably play the Jedi one. Yeah.
Although I do want to play the Star Wars one as well, so I might have to. God,
I want to
no.
play Pokemon, but it's good they're on different consoles at least. You can.
Yeah, there's no time for this nonsense. This is insane. It's sad that we didn't even mention Luigi's Mansion because like it's like I'd love to play
I'm
that
interested.
too.
It's a novelty to me, but
with what's coming out, I just
yeah,
I
right. It's
can't-
not
I
even
can't-
close
I
to the
can't.
same caliber of release.
I'm sure it's great. Honestly, I'm sure it's fun and dorky. If it
Souls like
came out,
Metroidvania,
fucking
Star Wars game, fucking Kojima game, Pokemon game, Luigi's Mansion.
Kojima's first game without Konami.
Yeah, that's-
even if it's like even if it was dog shit, like I would have to play it. How can
Even
you
if
not?
it was like a shit-filled grenade, which you can craft in that game with your own
amazing.
shit to fight
Yeah,
ghosts.
it's Luigi's Mansion. I think unfortunately they maybe botched the release date unless.
But it was on Halloween. I mean, what else are you gonna do?
That's true.
That kind of
That's
game.
true. Yeah. Oh, you're right. I guess at the end of the day, they're probably not competing for the same market
No.
share as.
And that'll be $80
those
for the next
mature
3
titles.
years, anyways.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah. Luigi's Mansion. It'll sell well. No
Pure
worries.
Nintendo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's- And I'm sure it's a quality game. You know, one summer day when I got some time.
it definitely is. 100%.
The funny thing is, like, there's a bunch of shit I haven't touched yet from this year that I just already feel like, fuck it.
How the fuck can we like?
I definitely want to go back to Astral Chain though, because I love Platinum.
Yes.
That would be a
I don't,
shame.
but
that would
you
be a
you
serious
should.
shame. Yeah.
You should. For me, I don't know.
Yeah.
Can't even put it into words. I played about 3 or 4 hours and I was like, I just don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
It's one of those unexplainable
Man,
things.
I hope to come back
Not
with
for
some
me.
positive things to say about that.
You might. I think you would actually.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't think it was a bad game. I think it just didn't click with me, and I don't want to play it. If I can just boil it down to that.
Oh, I also just before we get into talking a little bit about the Call of Duty story, which we've
Yeah, yeah.
experienced now, both fondly relate to, I guess you could say.
Fuck yeah.
I just want to say a couple of words about the ending of the Outer Worlds, which was hilarious and awesome in my mind. You know, because I guess like my modus operandi in this game was just to never kill any innocent people.
Yeah.
Never kill any innocent people.
I may not have followed.
Never let
that.
anybody fucking catch me stealing, because I stole a lot, because there's no
Yeah, same.
consequences.
Yep.
Stole everything.
You just lie and say I have nothing.
Even
right?
then, I didn't want the reputation bump. Like unless I hated a faction, I tried to like make sure I got never any like negative interactions. with them.
Yeah. Okay.
But when I hated a faction, or when they were
You're
like
just an asshole.
I just
Yeah.
exterminated them entirely.
That's the fun of that
I didn't even let
game,
them
though,
live.
right?
Like not one of them. It was
beautiful, amazing.
Those like philosophist guys were like, yeah, well, sometimes people have to die in the revolution. Maybe what? So I'm like, all right, fuck these guys.
Yeah. All right.
Just
See ya.
wasted them all.
Yep.
This other lady like got mad at me because like some scientist was experimenting on how to like make people survive off the nutrition available in that ecosystem.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, you're transforming the people into aliens. Go kill this doctor. And I was like, nah. So then I just killed her instead.
Okay.
Because, you know, fuck you. What are you, crazy? Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. Yeah. That is like...
And at the end, super spoilers. Because it doesn't have to happen for everybody. But you can, like, turn Phineas into the board. You can get the chairman to kill himself or be killed. And you can convince Phineas to kill himself, too.
No way.
And you can just become the new chairman. And, you know, or you can, like, dissolve the board altogether. You can blah, 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 this revolution. But, like, I was like, fucking revolution.
Yeah, screw
kidding
that.
me? The revolutionaries don't even have a plan to save the colony from the crisis at the end, which I won't describe. But, like, they have no plan. Their plan is... Rah, rah, rah. So the board doesn't really have that great of a plan, but they have something of a plan. And you can also get rid of all the inefficient members and take over yourself or replace them with better people. So that's usually what I tried to do.
The world is better at the end of the game with Mike playing.
I tried not to, like, destroy everything. I didn't want a revolution, but I also didn't want incompetent people involved. So I got rid of the incompetent people and replaced them. I think it was pretty much better.
Yeah.
Pretty much a better place by the end.
It's so cool to, like, play a game like that and, like, literally see, like, a huge impact you've made throughout your progress, and how there's obviously tons of options, and everybody, you know, would probably come out with a different...
Yeah, there's a few different things you can do in all situations.
There's got to be a couple endings at least, right? I don't know for sure, but I'm sure there's bad endings, good endings, whatever the fuck.
There was, like, an evident objectivity to all of the viewpoints in the game. You know, like, nobody in the game was like a straw man, like, there only to make the ideas he represented look bad. You know, everybody, all of the characters seem to, like, genuinely believe the things they believe for a good reason.
Driven by their own...
Yeah, even some of your crew members were like, dude, you can't go destroying the corporations and the board and, like, all of these structures. Like, people, not only can they not govern things themselves, like, they won't be able to, you know? All of this stuff exists for the common good. Like, you're better off, like, fixing the kinks than just fucking destroying everything like some kind of idiot. But one of your crew members, he gets all butthurt when you decide to work for the board, and I thought he was going to turn on me, so I killed him.
Which one?
Felix.
Felix? What a pussy.
Yeah, or I banished him. I was like, get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Fucking guy.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like that decision.
Yeah, you do drugs with Vicar Max.
Yeah,
that's
I did
pretty
that
sweet.
one. Yeah.
He's like, fuck my stupid religion. I'm gonna...
Is that when he, like, sees his parents and shit?
Yeah.
I did that one.
Yeah.
And then I just got to Nyoko.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just made it to her now. So...
Yeah. Ellie's is pretty sick.
How early am I in the game?
You're probably halfway, a bit more.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not, like, shockingly long. It's like Mass Effect
because
2.
I think there's a lot of the side stuff that you can do.
I miss games of this length so badly. Like, back in the day when I just throw in a game, I'm like, you know, if you just play it consistently for a few days, she's done.
But the best part is, too, that there is replayability if you want to extend that, right?
But, like, dude, 30, 40 hours is... My playthrough probably was 35 hours or so, depending how many smoke breaks I took, you know?
Yeah.
And that's fucking amazing. It's more than enough. You kidding me? And, like, you feel that's when the steam starts to leave you, and you're like...
you're kind of, like, ready for it to wrap up and move on. You don't want to...
Right. Yeah. Now, actually, you know what? I really want to fucking play Disco Elysium.
Oh, yeah.
I've been fucking dying to play that game.
I've been hearing a lot of good things about that since you mentioned it to me.
Yeah, I really want to play that.
Yeah. Should give that a go.
I'm going to fucking maybe do that tonight. I have it on my PC at home.
Nice.
There's, like, one of the character traits is communism. All right.
What the hell?
It's going to be hilarious. I like the direction games are going, you know?
Yeah.
Which seems to be almost, frankly, in every direction. Enough directions that no matter what you like,
I think that's the thing. It's so...
You're gonna be well served.
There's so much there now. It's so flooded that no matter what you like, there's something there for you, right?
Yeah, there is
we
something
might be headed in a good direction from what I originally
really
thought.
Like, I think we're headed in a fucking sick direction.
Yeah, like, I originally was scared and thought, like, things were going bad with all the bullshit and the microtransactions.
Me too. If you asked me, like, 7 months ago, my opinion would be different.
Probably before Sekiro came out.
Yeah.
Like, and obviously a lot before that. Like, just I constantly had, like, a bad fucking vibes about where the industry was headed. And now, after 2019 is coming to a close, it almost feels like it's kind of turned around, eh?
Yeah, it does.
Like,
it feels like the big publishers even have some good shit on the docket, you know?
Yeah, even, they still have their bullshit, but at the same time, we talk about this quite a bit, that they still come out with something that,
they managed to take that money and make a good game with it.
Yeah.
It's excellent.
Yeah. A good fucking game.
Yeah.
A good old single player, maybe single player and multiplayer game.
Man,
Dude, all three of those games are single-player games in November.
Yeah,
That's
true.
fucking nuts.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Death Stranding, man. I'm so excited for that.
Big titles in November are single-player fucking games.
I read like some of the people who said negative things about it were like, it's fucking, it asks way more of us than it has business asking. Like, it's fucking...
Which one? The Outer Worlds?
Boring. No,
Are you
Death
talking
Stranding.
about Death Stranding now? Yeah, the reviews came out today for
like,
Death
oh
Stranding.
boy, they say that about all my favorite things in the
right?
world, you know?
You just know right away. This is going to be good.
Like,
yeah.
It's what happens when you like.
There's something here.
I just want to
sure.
be fucking. Yeah, it's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a game that if you like exposition, it's like, man, that's Japanese way, except in Dark Souls apparently.
Yeah,
they're exposition heavy. It's every fucking JRPG or anime I ever played or watched was like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited for Death Stranding. Definitely for Pokemon, but that's just because I'm a Pokemon loser. So
yeah, I'm excited as well.
That's not surprising at all. And then we get on the same day Star Wars. Wow.
Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Fuck.
If they pull that off, man, I'm gonna fucking be such a happy guy.
That'll be a big turnaround for EA. Yeah. They're releasing their games on Steam now. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah.
They probably need the bucks. Origin shit.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, I only used it for Battlefield, and Battlefield 5
is
shit.
It's just shit in that, like, come on, man. Why make us use another fucking launcher?
Well, technically that's what Epic's doing too, and
I understand, but like, why? Just fucking. If you want, I don't even object to you having a storefront, but why have a launcher? Like then you have to have like 18 different fucking.
Everybody wants a piece of that Steam monopoly, right?
Then you have to remember which. Yeah, no, I feel you, but like, who wants that?
I don't know. I'm used to it now because I've been playing PC forever. Like, you know, if you think about it now, like Blizzard launchers for all the Blizzard games, and they have Call of Duty because they're partnered with Activision. So Activision doesn't have a launcher.
Does GOG have a launcher?
Yeah.
They have a launcher?
GOG has one for the CD Projekt Red guys, whatever.
Yeah.
That's their platform. They have Blizzard has one, EA has one, now Ubisoft has one too. Steam obviously is the big boy.
So you just need
Epic,
fucking 50 launchers.
There's all kinds, yeah. But I mean, at the same time, like I don't play all of those games all the time, so I only have Steam is always installed, of course. Epic's installed now because they have all the latest games, including the Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
And then I usually like sometimes I'll have EA installed if I'm playing Battlefield, but like I have no desire to play Battlefield 5 because it's shit.
Yeah.
So I don't even have that one installed right now. And Blizzard, same. I don't have Blizzard installed right now. Good times on the PC. Speaking of Diablo, or Blizzard announcing Diablo 4 today on all consoles and PC simultaneously. You think it's gonna be shit, right? I like that it looks like they went back to the gritty style a bit.
I expect
more
it is
than like the WoW.
It'll be structured for a jump in and play briefly kind of shit, you know? It can't be an engaging experience like the older ones were, right?
Maybe not. You know what? I think you're actually right about that, unfortunately.
And at the end of the day, also another thing I'm kind of fucking sick of is just loot-based games.
I am too, I have to say.
I'm fucking
Fuck
so
those
sick of
games,
that shit.
yeah.
Man. I feel the same way I do about that as I did about like open world games a couple of summers ago, you know?
Yeah, but even like live service and shit too, like I mean, they typically go hand in hand.
Yeah, I feel that
live service with
it, right? They seem to go hand in
right?
hand.
So, like I liked the Division 2, but like I don't know, those kinds of games I don't think they have lasting power for me. Fuck that. And if Ghost Recon and actually the Division 2 is anything to say about it, apparently a lot of people feel the same fucking way. Because I understand Ubisoft fucking up Ghost Recon, but I didn't think the Division 2 would be considered not successful to that, right? I thought it would have been.
I thought it was a good game.
It sold. I'm sure it sold over a few million copies, right? At least.
Maybe there wasn't enough growth.
It's possible that it had like a big initial release and then just like really stumbled right after that.
The community received it very well. Like,
yeah, that's why, right? Like
I'm calling it like live service games done right, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like, I feel like it was one of the better examples. It was done right, but maybe, I mean, we didn't play for very long, but also there were other factors that played.
So, what do you say we talk a little bit about COD?
Sure.
About some codfish.
Fucking codfish, modern.
About codfish, modern warfare. Which,
Yeah.
fuck, man, I can't even believe it, but I like this game, actually. Bracket.
You don't even like fucking like first-person shooters that much, right?
I like first-person
they're like
shooting
an outer
gameplay. I just
Right.
don't like online multiplayer competitive games.
Exactly,
at all.
Which this
I
is
just
kind
don't
of
like
what
them.
Call of Duty is.
Yeah,
It's
this is why
way more popular.
traditionally I stay away from that. But
Yeah.
I heard the campaign this year was good.
Mm-hmm.
Decided to check it out, and fuck, it is. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Man, like you fucking whatever, these guys were saying their job was to depict a realistic battlefield experience, like they succeeded
Like
at that
special
shit.
ops kind
holy
of, yeah.
fucking, some of the scenes are like shocking, like brutal, like intense.
I love
shit.
that.
Like,
Yeah, they didn't hold
like-
fucking back at all.
like again, if the form in the mind of the creator was this like depiction of like
War,
modern
man.
battlefield
Fucking-
situation, like
yeah,
gunplay, like
it's
wow,
brutal.
yeah, you mission accomplished, bro. Like it's brutal as fuck.
Yeah, it's not
There's
fun
this one
times
scene
on
where like they
Battlefield.
find a fucking group of hostages in London. There, we were just playing that part. One of them strapped with like a bomb vest,
yeah.
and like fuck, buddy can't save him,
Couldn't
so he
save
just
him.
kicks him over the fucking railing, saves everybody else. Like shit, I guess.
What else
Yeah.
do you do?
Fuck, I don't know. Yeah,
Let everybody die, including yourselves. Like
yeah,
those are the decisions.
Later,
right?
bud.
Fuck, sorry.
Love you.
It's fake. Don't worry.
Oh shit.
Damn. No, it is intense, man.
Yeah, it
I'm
is
so
intense,
happy
yeah.
they fucking.
It is intense.
They went full steam ahead
Oh
on
man,
that.
and like there's scenes that are like you're in the dark in these tunnels and dudes are popping out at you and
Yeah.
you're dropping them, and every time you drop them, their heads like pop like melons. Fuck, it's fucked.
yeah.
But like, in the way that I say about good things.
Oh yeah.
I quite
100%.
enjoyed
I
it.
agree,
Like,
and I
quite
was
enjoyed
surprised
it. Yeah.
that
it was impactful. Like it.
yeah.
You feel like when you watch like that, opening scenes from good war movies,
Yeah, yeah.
like Saving Private Ryan or Dunkirk. There.
I was mostly surprised at like the difficulty that we
And
played
that
it on
too,
normal.
yeah,
I mean,
shit.
it was hard. It
was very hard.
You die very quickly, and
Yeah.
that's like okay, fuck, right?
Yeah.
It's
Very
hardcore
difficult.
like that.
The first
I like it.
level, like there's a couple
Yeah,
of seconds I had to redo.
As soon as you run in the open, you're
Yeah,
fried, man.
flat.
You're done.
Yeah.
You'll-
It feels like you're working, like when you're trying to get somewhere
Yeah.
under fire, you're like pressing the stick and jumping and dodging and running and like
I also
Yeah.
feel like sound like a dick though. That a lot of that for me is playing with a controller. I hate FPS
Yeah,
with controller.
sure.
With a mouse and keyboard. Like the campaign will be much easier for me. I'll just
Yeah.
run around snapping heads. That's why I'm maybe if it's too easy, I could like bump up the difficulty. But
yeah.
mouse and keyboard is just so much.
I gotta try that. I
It's
don't
so
really
much
play
better for
FPS
fucking-
with mouse and keyboard. I like the FPSs I play tend to be limited to things.
Yeah, like I mean, something like the
Doom
Outer
or
Worlds or
fucking
like
Dishonored, Outer Worlds. Yeah, like not really FPSs. Maybe Doom.
Doom is nice with a keyboard and mouse.
But Doom
I
is
play
like
Doom
a
on
fantasy
PC.
FPS, I guess you would say.
Kind of, but it's still heavy on like the shooting.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
shooting fucking
Yeah.
rounds into. Yeah.
Still circumscriptive.
Yeah.
Like less symbolic, more adequate gameplay.
Yeah, yeah. Doom was badass. Eternal's gonna be a fucking. Maybe they delayed Eternal on purpose. When was that scheduled? For November, right? Could you fucking imagine? Maybe they like strategically delayed that because this would have been suicide, man. What the fuck? In the middle of
Yeah, that's
November?
wise.
What
That's
the
wise.
hell?
You're
They
right.
probably did it on purpose.
I would do the same if I was them. You want to
never
launch
thought of that
next to
until
fucking
now.
Pokemon and Kojima? Fucking Star Wars?
Yeah, and that,
You're signing your own irrelevance
even,
words.
yeah,
like
Star Wars games sell themselves basically, whether it's shit or not.
Man,
the last
it's Star
Battlefronts
Wars.
were
It's just
shit.
like,
Yeah,
you could just fucking carve Star Wars into a giant turd, and people would like pay millions of dollars for chips of that turd.
absolutely.
For pieces of corn found in that turd, even like. Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Yo, on a like scale of 1 to fuck no, how much like do you feel like talking about Blizzard's 2 newest announcements?
Which ones?
Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4. They just released those gameplays
Not
tonight.
Overwatch 2 at all, but Diablo
Fuck
4 I'm
Overwatch 2.
open to talk about.
Open
Open to
for
that
business. Yeah.
I don't mean to like shit down its throat too aggressively or apprehensively. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it'll be good, and I hope it is. Of course, I hope it is because I like. That's the kind of franchise that I like.
Yeah, that's something you want to get behind,
I
right?
don't know,
Like,
another
yeah.
looter game in the hands of Activision
It's
Blizzard.
true.
Like it just feels like
bad news nowadays in
Yeah.
2019. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
it's not the type of thing we should be looking
Even if it's
forward to.
good, then like what am I expecting? Like even my best case scenario of a game like that is not what I want to devote my time to right now. You know what
so
I mean?
it's a problem deeper than just
Yeah.
Diablo.
Yeah, I
it's
guess so, yeah.
like
Same
we
reason
just
I didn't
said.
play Borderlands.
Yeah,
this-
like we just
this
said,
iteration, yeah.
looter fucking anything.
Yeah, I love the fucking understated nature of all of the gear and shit in the Outer Worlds. It's like just enough to like stimulate you into thinking of a build and like
Right.
optimizing,
But not
nearly
quite
enough to
deep.
just
I
shuffle
don't-
through garbage all
I've
day. Like
only switched my armor and my helmet like 4 times.
I literally use
maybe.
no consumables the whole game. Although on
I
a harder
haven't either.
difficulty, I think you would have to.
Yeah, okay, probably.
Yeah, I died a few times, fairly often actually.
Yeah.
Though I killed enemies in like one hit by the end.
By the end, you're overpowered. Yeah.
Yeah. I could still die fairly easily too, though.
Yeah.
You had to use the dodge. Yeah. I don't know, but it was just understated, all of that stuff. Like, there was crafting, but it wasn't, like, just overbearing crap. Like, not like
Yeah,
Dragon
yeah.
Age Inquisition or even The Witcher, where it's just like, oh my god.
That's why I never played The
Witcher.
Witcher, because
Yeah.
it's too much.
You know that article you sent me about The Witcher not being the greatest game ever? Like, the funny thing is, I do
That's
think
dumb.
it's one of the greatest games, but I think all that stuff is still true that the guy said. You know what I mean? All of it. That just doesn't make it
So,
bad, but it doesn't make it a
didn't
bad game
To
overall.
be fair,
but all that stuff's true.
I didn't even actually read the
He
article.
was like, oh, there's fucking some technical issues. Like, there's some boring shit. There's, like, reused
Yeah.
assets. Like, yeah, that's the problem with
Wow.
an open world game. I agree.
Yeah.
It was better than Witcher 2, but...
But it's still
you know,
a
it's
fucking
still a
good game. Yeah.
But that's why I wouldn't want to play a Diablo game, I guess. Just, you know, what kind of thing you're in for.
Yeah, I
right?
think
Like,
you know what, you kind
lot
of
of
convinced me
grinding,
that
a lot
it's
of-
probably just not worth our time.
yeah, a lot of hamming for
Yeah.
fucking
That's a
proper
game-
rolls.
Yeah,
on
you're supposed to
gear.
really
Like,
fucking really go through,
yeah.
optimize your fucking. Oh
I feel like
my
I don't like
God.
that kind of stuff anymore. Like, optimized drops and RNG, like, just not into it.
Yeah, it's way too random too.
Not
Like,
into it, yeah.
who knows, you know, how much grinding you have to do to get certain. Fuck that. I don't want to know about that shit either.
that just feel like the most artificial way to assign value to something? By like, yeah, this gun's the same as the gun you've got, except it's numbers.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, fuck me.
So dumb. Yeah, there's too much of that shit.
I'll
Fuck
not
that.
be manipulated like that.
So fuck Overwatch 2 and fuck Diablo 4.
Yeah,
but
Overwatch
right
2, it
now-
goes
yeah.
without saying.
Yeah.
Fuck that game
Yeah.
so hard.
Story mission.
Overwatch is just lame.
Yeah.
To me, like, I just fucking hate
They're
Overwatch. This
basically-
part you can keep in. I hate Overwatch. It's just terrible.
What's worse,
I don't even-
Overwatch or Fortnite?
Overwatch.
Overwatch is worse.
Easily,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Easily worse. Easily
You're
worse.
definitely right.
For its branding, if nothing else. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even argue that it's not fun. Just that, what the fuck kind of branding? Like,
That's
this, the coat of paint on that experience is doofy as hell. And
Yeah.
the kind of genre is creatively impoverished at the very least. At best, like, chess for fucking doofers. Like... If Counter-Strike is the video game version of chess, then Overwatch is chess for fucking people who never made the chess club, you know?
It's like checkers.
yeah, it's like checkers.
Overwatch is checkers.
Yeah.
It's a Counter-Strike.
Maybe it's Hungry
and,
Hungry Hippos, rather.
Oh, man.
No, I'm not good at Hungry Hungry Hippos, checkers, or Overwatch.
Yeah. Or Counter-Strike for sure.
That doesn't make them one good,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Oh, man.
Definitely not a Counter-Strike. So those are our thoughts, I guess, on the releases of the past couple of weeks. Enjoyable one in all of them.
Yeah.
Pretty satisfied.
And it's not finished there. Big November coming up. Oh,
Really looking
boy.
forward to Death Stranding.
Yeah, same. Fuck. Pokemon, always a good fucking time. God, I'm so...
Hopefully by this time next week, we've already completed Death Stranding, I hope.
That would be good.
Do our
Yeah.
best. Do
Yeah,
our
yeah.
very best. And then the week after, we can get on to Pokemon. The week
Pokemon
after,
and Star Wars.
Oh, shit. Fuck.
What?
I can't believe they're coming on the same day. That
Yeah,
stresses
right?
me out a little.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just plop it on our plates at the same time. Let's go.
Yeah, it stressed me out a bit. Well, I guess it's nothing to complain about at the end of the day. Thank you very much for listening to us this whole fucking evening. It's been a slog.
If you made it this far.
Yeah, we're going to edit the fuck out of this, aren't we?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Hope you guys are as under the influence as us by the end of this episode.
I think I
and,
made it to about an 8.5 or a 9.
I'm at a 6.
What?
I'm working.
You just say 6 every time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 6.
Yeah, I feel
That's
it just
true, yeah.
constantly. I feel it just most of the time about the same.
Like range from a 6 to 6.5, no more, no less.
Definitely not sober, but very much in the realm of functional.
Under the influence. Good night. I don't know what else to say.
You think I care about It's fucking crunch time. They don't get to see their families. Yeah, you think Michelangelo got to see his fucking family? Shut the fuck up.